2 years ago, I made a decision that made sense on paper, a decision that everyone around me supported, a decision that completely changed my life. I moved into Sunnyvale Nursing Home. At 72, after my fall, it seemed like the reasonable choice, the safe choice, the responsible choice. But now I have some thoughts I need to share. Not to scare you, not to make you feel guilty if you're considering this path for yourself or someone you love, but to be honest about what no one told me, what the brochures don't mention, what I wish I had known. In this video, I'm going to share 7 reasons I regret moving into a nursing home. Some are practical, some are deeply personal. All of them are my truth, and maybe, just maybe, they'll help you make a more informed choice than I did. Stay with me. Before I dive in, let me be clear. The staff here, they're doing their best. Many of them are angels in scrubs working for far too little pay. And for some people, nursing homes are absolutely necessary. They save lives. They provide critical care. This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about sharing what I've learned, so you can make choices with your eyes wide open. Because the truth is, even the best nursing home isn't a replacement for what I left behind. So let's begin. I used to wake up when I wanted, eat when I was hungry, take a walk at midnight if I couldn't sleep. Now my life runs on their schedule. Breakfast at 7:30, medications at 8:15, activities at 10, lunch at noon, on and on. Need a snack at 10 p.m? Sorry, kitchen's closed. Want to sleep in? Sorry, room checks start at 7. Feel like a spontaneous outing? Sorry, the van is only available Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's the little freedoms I miss the most. The ones I never even realized were freedoms until they were gone. You know what I miss? Deciding when to take my shower. At home, I might bathe at 3 p.m. or 11 p.m., whatever suited me. Here, showers are scheduled. Tuesday and Friday mornings for me, sometimes with staff I barely know. I miss cooking, just the simple act of frying an egg when I want one, opening my refrigerator at midnight, making toast exactly how I like it, nearly burnt, with a scraping of butter while it's still hot. I miss choosing my own doctor's appointments. Now they're arranged for me, often with providers who come to the facility, not the specialists I've trusted for years. Even my mail is managed. Packages are opened and inspected, for my safety they say. But it feels infantilizing. If you value your independence, think carefully. Very carefully. Because independence isn't just about big decisions. It's about the 100 small choices we make every day that make us feel human, that make us feel in control of our own lives. Let me be blunt. Nursing homes are expensive. Shockingly expensive. What I pay monthly here could rent a luxury apartment in the heart of the city. My entire life savings, meant for travel, for grandchildren's education, for emergencies, is being steadily drained. Medicare doesn't cover most of it. Insurance barely helps. And once your assets are gone, well, your options narrow considerably. No one tells you that you might outlive your money. No one mentions the extra charges that appear on your bill. $30 for someone to escort you to the dining room when you're having a bad day. $45 for help arranging your closet. I thought I had planned well financially. I was wrong. Let me give you a real example. Last month, my bill included $120 for personal care assistance. When I asked what that meant, it was for helping me button my cardigan 4 times that month. $30 each time. There are tiers of care here, you see. When I first arrived, I was assessed as level 2 care. After my bout with pneumonia, they moved me to level 3, $800 more per month, and the hidden costs keep coming. Special diets cost extra. Want your room cleaned more than once a week? That's extra. Need someone to accompany you to an outside medical appointment? That could be $45 an hour. My daughter spent hours on the phone with Medicare last month, trying to understand why they denied coverage for my physical therapy. The answer? Because I was improving too slowly. What most people don't realize is that nursing homes are essentially charging you for your diminishing capabilities. The more help you need, the more you pay, precisely when you have the least ability to earn money or advocate for yourself. You'll have a built-in community, they said. You'll never be lonely. they promised. The reality? I've never felt more alone. Yes, I'm surrounded by people, but not my people. Not my neighbors of 40 years. Not my garden club friends. Not the barista who knew my order by heart. Family visits dwindle. Not because they don't care, but because life gets busy. And frankly, this isn't an easy place to visit. The smells, the sounds, the reminders of mortality. Phone calls get shorter. Holidays feel longer. And slowly, your world shrinks to these walls. Community doesn't just happen because you put people in the same building, especially when many of those people are struggling with their own health challenges. There's something especially painful about holiday seasons. The first Thanksgiving after I moved in, my family brought dinner to my room. By the second year, they invited me to join them at my daughter's house, but only for a few hours before bringing me back so I could rest. This year, they asked if I'd mind if they came the day after. It was easier for everyone's schedule. I understand, of course I do, but understanding doesn't fill the empty hours. My friend Martha passed away last month. We'd become close during afternoon card games, but when I asked about attending her funeral, I was told transportation wasn't available that day. Her family didn't think to invite me, so I mourned alone, in my room, for one of the few true connections I'd made here. The social workers organize friendship circles and discussion groups, but authentic connection can't be scheduled for Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Real friendship needs shared experiences, spontaneous moments, private jokes, all things that institutional living makes nearly impossible. The painful irony. Many of us moved here partly to avoid isolation in our homes, yet here, surrounded by people, the isolation can feel even more profound. For 45 years I was a teacher, then a volunteer, then a grandparent and gardener. I always had something to do that mattered, something that made a difference. Now I have bingo on Wednesdays, choir on Fridays, and a whole lot of television in between. They call it activities. I call it killing time. Without real purpose, without meaningful contribution, something inside begins to wither. Yes, there are volunteer opportunities. Yes, there are classes, but they feel manufactured, designed to keep us busy rather than fulfilled. I didn't realize how much my sense of purpose defined me until it was gone. I tried to start a book club here, something substantive. We were going to discuss classics, contemporary fiction, memoirs. The activities director said it was too complicated and suggested I join the existing reading hour, where staff read aloud to us as if we were children. I used to mentor student teachers. Now the only wisdom I'm asked to share is whether I prefer chocolate or vanilla pudding. My neighbor Thomas was a master carpenter. He asked for a small workbench in the activity room. Insurance liability, they said. Now he watches home improvement shows instead of creating with his hands. Last month I asked if I could help address the facility's newsletter. I was an English teacher for 4 decades after all. They thanked me but said the administrative assistant had it covered. It's not just about being busy, it's about feeling useful, needed. Like your experience and skills still have value. When you're no longer seen as someone who can contribute, only as someone who needs care, something fundamental changes in how you see yourself, and not for the better. I came from a home filled with memories, walls I'd painted myself, a garden I'd nurtured for decades, furniture that told stories of my life. Now I live in a room that could belong to anyone. Beige walls, vinyl flooring, furniture designed for function, not comfort. The constant announcements over intercoms, the medical equipment in hallways, the smell of industrial cleaners mixed with cafeteria food. It doesn't feel like home. It feels like an institution, because that's what it is. They encourage you to bring personal items, but there's only so much personality you can inject into 250 square feet of institutional space. I didn't just lose my home. I lost my sense of place in the world. The sounds are what got to me first. The squeaking of non-slip shoes on linoleum, the beeping of call buttons, the mechanical whir of hospital beds adjusting. The televisions are playing too loudly because residents can't find their hearing aids. Then there's the lighting, harsh fluorescents that buzz faintly overhead. Light switches that control half the room, so my roommate and I are constantly negotiating who gets to decide when it's dark. Meal times in the dining hall feel like a school cafeteria, but with less appetizing food. Overcooked vegetables, meats swimming in gravy to mask dryness. Everything slightly too soft, slightly too bland. Even the art on the walls feels impersonal, generic landscapes, and still life's chosen to be inoffensive rather than inspiring. My daughter hung a gallery wall of family photos in my room. It helps. But then I step outside my door, and I'm back in the institution. I had a collection of antique teacups. I brought 2 here. The rest are in boxes in my daughter's basement, along with most of the belongings that define my living space for decades. Home isn't just where you sleep, it's where you feel you belong. And despite everyone's best efforts, this place has never felt like it belongs to me. Privacy is a luxury here, a rare commodity. Staff enter my room at all hours. Sometimes they knock, sometimes they don't. My medical information is discussed openly at the nurses' station. My daily habits are noted in charts that multiple people review. Need help in the bathroom? Get used to having an audience. Have a personal conflict with another resident. Expect it to become staff knowledge. Want a romantic relationship? Be prepared for everyone to know and have opinions. There are no secrets in a nursing home, no sacred personal space, no moments that truly belong just to you. It's the price of safety, they say, but it's a steep price indeed. I keep a journal. I always have. It's where I process my thoughts, my fears, my hopes. Last week, I returned from physical therapy to find it moved from my nightstand. Someone had been cleaning, they said. But the thought of someone, anyone, reading those private thoughts makes me feel violated. My neighbor Harold receives a weekly phone call from his son in Australia. He takes it in the common area because his roommate is usually napping. Everyone within earshot knows about his grandson's divorce, his daughter-in-law's drinking problem, the family inheritance dispute. My friend Elaine and Robert began dating last year, both widowed, both in their 80s. They were caught holding hands in Robert's room with the door closed and were lectured about facility policies. They're both fully cognizant adults, but they're treated like teenagers breaking curfew. There's the medication rounds, where the nurse announces what you're taking as she dispenses it. Here's your depression medication, Mrs. Williams. Don't forget your incontinence pills, Mr. Johnson. Privacy isn't just about physical space. It's about maintaining dignity, about having some part of your life that remains yours alone. When that's gone, it chips away at your sense of self in ways that are hard to describe, but profound to experience. This is perhaps the hardest truth to share. Moving here felt like an admission. My life's best chapters are behind me. All that's left is the epilogue. The messaging is subtle but constant. Be careful. Don't take risks. Accept limitations. Plans become smaller. Dreams shrink. Conversations focus on the past because the future feels limited. I've watched vibrant people come here and slowly accept this mindset. I felt it happening to me too. It's not just about where you live. It's about how you live. And too often, nursing homes are places where people wait for the end, not places where people continue to truly live. When I moved in, I brought a small list of things I still wanted to do. See the Grand Canyon, learn to paint with watercolors, take my great-granddaughter to her first ballet. 2 years later, I haven't done any of them. Not because they're impossible, but because the environment here subtly convinces you that new experiences are behind you. At your age, they say. With your condition, they remind you. Last month, I mentioned wanting to try the new Thai restaurant that opened downtown. The response from the staff wasn't, "Let's arrange that, but are you sure that food won't be too spicy for you?" When we're spoken about, it's often in the past tense. Mrs. Johnson was a nurse for 40 years. Not Mrs. Johnson is a nurse with valuable experience to share. Death is ever present here, of course. It has to be. But rather than making us embrace life more fiercely, it often does the opposite. Makes us feel we should quietly prepare for our end, not boldly live until it comes. I realized recently that I've stopped buying new clothes. Why would I? Where am I going that requires them? I've stopped making plans beyond the next holiday. I've stopped imagining futures beyond these walls. And that, perhaps, is the greatest loss of all. The loss of believing that life still holds joy, adventure, and meaning right up until its very end. Here's something I didn't anticipate. How moving into a nursing home would remove me from my community completely. For decades, I lived 3 blocks from downtown. I knew the shop owners by name. I watched the seasons change in the park. I was part of the fabric of a place. Now, I'm on the outskirts of town in a facility most people drive past without noticing. When I do get to visit my old neighborhood, I feel like a tourist in my own life. The nursing home is designed to be self-contained. Everything you need is here, or so they say. But communities aren't just about needs. They're about belonging, about continuity, about watching places change and grow alongside you. I used to vote at the elementary school where I once taught. Now my ballots arrive by mail, and I fill them out without knowing what's happening in local politics because those issues aren't discussed here. I attended the same church for 37 years. Now I watch a non-denominational service on the activity room television on Sundays. I knew which cashier at the grocery store would double bag without being asked, which librarian would set aside new mystery novels for me, which bench in the park caught the afternoon sun just right. All those small connections, the ones that anchor us to a place and make us feel seen, they're gone now, and they're irreplaceable. Community isn't just about people, it's about a place, and when you're relocated to an institution, you lose not just your home but your place in the world. I moved here partly for health reasons, for safety, for round-the-clock care, but the healthcare reality in nursing homes is complicated. Yes, there's always someone nearby if I fall, but continuity of care, personalized attention, proactive health management, those are often missing. My doctor here sees me for perhaps 10 minutes every 2 months. My medications have been changed multiple times without thorough explanation. When I ask questions, I'm often met with "that's what the doctor ordered" rather than a clear rationale. I've become a collection of symptoms to manage rather than a whole person to heal. The nursing staff changes constantly. Agency nurses fill in gaps, rarely knowing our histories, preferences, or personalities. They do their best, but the system isn't designed for relationship-based care. One weekend, a fill-in nurse gave me another resident's medication. The error was caught quickly, but it highlighted how anonymous we can become. My arthritis pain management program at home included gentle swimming, specific stretches, and occasional medication. Here, it's primarily pharmaceutical, pills to mask symptoms rather than activities to address causes. When I was hospitalized for pneumonia, I returned to find my regular physical therapy had been discontinued because I missed sessions. I had to advocate fiercely to have it reinstated. Don't misunderstand, there are caring, competent healthcare professionals here, but they're working within a system that prioritizes efficiency over individualization, medication over holistic approaches, and protocols over personalized care. The irony is striking. I came here for better healthcare management, only to find myself missing the more comprehensive approach I had created for myself at home. If I could go back, what would I have done differently? I would have explored every other option first. Home health aides, community support programs, technology that enables aging in place. I would have had harder conversations with my family about their realistic capacity to help. I would have modified my home instead of leaving it. I would have started with respite care, a temporary stay, before making a permanent decision. Most importantly, I would have listened to my gut. That voice that said, "This doesn't feel right for you." Because the truth is, there are more options today than ever before. Nursing homes aren't the only answer to aging needs. If you're watching this and considering a nursing home for yourself or someone you love, I hope you'll pause, not stop, just pause. Ask the hard questions. Is this truly the only option? Have we explored aging in place with support? Have we visited multiple times at different hours? Have we talked to current residents privately? Can we start with a trial period? If a nursing home is truly the best option, look for one with private rooms, flexible schedules, resident councils with real power, high staff-to-resident ratios, and activities that build true meaning, not just fill time. Beyond these basics, consider some specific alternatives. Co-housing arrangements where seniors share expenses and support staff while maintaining private living spaces. Continuing care retirement communities that allow you to move between levels of care while staying in the same community. PACE programs of all-inclusive care for the elderly that provide comprehensive services while you remain at home. Adult family homes, which offer care in a residential setting with fewer residents and a more home-like atmosphere. Village models, where neighborhood residents create networks of support services and social connections. Technology is revolutionizing aging in place too. Medical alert systems have evolved far beyond the "I've fallen and can't get up" buttons. Now there are passive monitoring systems, medication dispensers with reminders, telehealth options, and smart home features designed specifically for seniors. The key is to match the solution to the actual need, not to assume that comprehensive care requires institutional living. And if you're already in a nursing home and relating to what I've shared, know that adaptation is possible. I'm finding my way, building small joys, creating purpose where I can. It's not the life I wanted, but it's still my life. And I'm determined to live it fully. Beyond individual choices, we need broader changes in how we approach elder care in this country. The nursing home model as we know it was developed decades ago and hasn't fundamentally changed despite what we now know about aging, quality of life, and dignity. Countries like Denmark, Sweden, and the Netherlands have revolutionized their approaches to elder care, with more home-based services, more community integration, and institutional settings that actually feel like homes. We need Medicare and insurance reforms that support aging in place rather than pushing toward institutional care. We need caregiver support, paid family leave, respite services, training programs, and financial compensation that acknowledges the value of this work. We need affordable housing designed for aging bodies and minds. And perhaps most importantly, we need a cultural shift away from the segregation of generations. Intergenerational living, working, and socializing benefit everyone. Nursing homes too often create age ghettos, separating the old from the young to everyone's detriment. These aren't just policy issues, they're questions about what kind of society we want to be. How we treat our elders reflects our values as a culture. I'm not just sharing my story for those facing this decision now. I'm sharing it in hopes that by the time my grandchildren reach my age, better options will exist because we demanded them. If this video resonated with you, you're not alone. Share it with someone facing these difficult decisions. Comment below with your own experiences or questions. Subscribe for more honest conversations about aging, choices, and finding dignity in every stage of life. I believe we can do better, for ourselves, for our parents, for our future selves. But change starts with honest conversation, with questioning assumptions, with refusing to accept that loss of independence and dignity are inevitable parts of aging. My story isn't universal. Many people have different experiences in nursing homes. Some find community, purpose, and peace that eluded them at home. Your journey or your loved one's journey may look nothing like mine, but everyone deserves to make this profound life decision with complete information, not just brochures and tour guides, but real insights from those living this reality every day. Whatever path you choose, may it be one that preserves what matters most to you or your loved one. May it be a choice made with eyes wide open and hearts fully engaged. This is the Grey and Wise Life channel, because aging deserves honesty, not just comforting half-truths. The question isn't just where to live as we age, but how to live with meaning, purpose, and joy, no matter where we are.